Sometimes you just gotta take it easy. Patience is a virtue, and if you are in the business of embarking on a venture that's going to take time, for instance, say you're investing in the S&P 500 and you expect to get rich overnight, you're in the wrong business. And if you're embarking on a journey that will take time, will take discipline, will take hard work that isn't getting recognized, you have to understand the venture you're in. You're not you're not trying to be an overnight success. You're trying to slowly succeed because the things that happen slowly stick around. The things that happen quickly fade quickly. So just take it easy. There was a writer. His name was David Foster Wallace, and he once said, well, he was talking about writing a new book because he was an author, and he was said that he was asked, what his routine would be like for writing his next book, and he said, if history repeats itself, he'll spend an hour writing and 8 hours worrying about not writing. Now, David Foster Wallace unfortunately killed himself, and I believe that statement is a window into why he may have killed himself. Because I don't know a lot about David Foster Wallace, but in my opinion, that's the sign of someone who worries a lot. And I resonate with that quote because I will do the same. I'll spend, a couple hours writing, reading, making videos, and then I'll spend the rest of my day worrying about not doing that while I'm, say, going for walks, hanging out with friends, hanging out with families, spending time with my dogs. And it's not worth it. You should be in the present when you are in the present. When you are doing something, you should be present in that. If you're reading, be there while you're reading. If you're writing, be there while you're writing. If you're posting videos, be there while you're posting videos. If you're hanging out with friends, be there. With family, be there. But it does you no good to sit there and worry about not doing something that you're not doing. Either go do it or stop worrying about it and enjoy the present moment and just take it easy. Consistency is key. People so often overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. You're in it for the long haul if you want to stick around for the long haul. You don't want to be an overnight success. You don't want to be a one-hit wonder. You want to be unknown for years. And then when you finally get your break, it looks like you're an overnight success. But no one saw the days and nights you were working. Nobody saw all that. So they think you're going to fade. But you have the discipline, you have the work ethic, you have the mindset not to fade. You just continually do what you do, but now it's in the limelight instead of in the dark. So I just want to make this video to urge you guys and myself to take it easy. When you're going for a long walk, enjoy the long walk. When you're with family, enjoy family. When you're with friends, enjoy friends. When you're at the gym, enjoy the gym. And when you're working, enjoy work. So you can, when you're done, feel like you left it all on the table. You did your best. You did all you could do. And now you can focus on other things. But it does you no good to sit around and regret, not going all in on your work and then wishing you could go back and do more and, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. No. No. Just take it easy. Be patient. You're in it for the long haul. Someone who invest in the S&P 500 for, the long haul, we'll say they invest in the S&P 500, which is a long haul investment. You have to be prepared to be in it for 10, 20, 30 years um, to make real compounding gains and, for it to be really beneficial. But say they go into a fund like that with the mindset of, 2xing their money in a year, and they're checking it every day, they're checking it every day, they're going to go insane. They're going to say, what is happening? This thing is barely moving. The rest of the market, that stock 4x, this stock 10x, like what is happening? And they won't be able to endure. But Warren Buffett once said if he was only had one fund to invest in, it would be the S&P 500. And if you look at what the S&P 500 was at, 40 years ago, and what it would have been like if you invested, even $1,000 for the last 40 years, with compounding interest and dividends and the gains the S&P 500 naturally makes, I think you'd have probably like $500,000, maybe more, maybe more like $1 million, which is insane. But that's what you get when you're in it for the long haul, when you let the compound effect take effect, and you're not just trying to hit a one-hit wonder. You're not just trying to 10x your gains in one night. And I think that's how we have to view our work. And realize you got to take it easy while you wait. Patience is a virtue. So take it easy. Take it easy. There's there's a song, Take the Time to Waste a Moment. I used to think that was stupid. I like the song, but I used to think, why would you waste a moment? It's a beautiful saying, yeah, waste a moment. Like, take the time to waste a moment, but it's like practically I was like, nah, like I'm not wasting any moments. I have a limited number of moments. But then I realized after so many times of, how you spend 20 minutes could affect how you spend a day. So sometimes it's valuable to just waste a moment. For instance, say you wake up in the morning and, first thing you do, you go on your phone and you look at social media and you see something sad or you see something that affects your mood, and then you're affected the rest of the day. It would have been more beneficial if you just laid in bed for 20 minutes, meditating, focusing on your breath, or just got up and went for a walk. Let your mind roam, just enjoy the birds, enjoy the cool morning breeze. If you just took that time to waste a moment, your day would have been better. You would have, the 20 minutes you spent wouldn't have affected your next 16 hours. That's why it's so important what we choose to spend our time doing. And then for me, I would have the feeling of, even if I didn't see anything bad on social media, I'd have the feeling of playing catch up, which I hate. And I might be the only one who does this, but if I spend 10 minutes on my phone, then I feel like I'm playing catch up the rest of the day. I'm like 10 minutes behind. I'm rushing reading, I'm rushing doing what I'm doing, I'm rushing conversations, I'm rushing time with people, I'm rushing things that should not be rushed because I spent 10 minutes, playing chess on my phone, which is nothing, it's nothing. It's not evil. It's not the worst way to spend 10, 20 minutes ever. But if it affects your peace of mind, if it puts you in a situation where you're playing catch up, or you feel like you're playing catch up the rest of the day, it's not worth it. It's never worth it to sacrifice your peace of mind for anything, whether that be a dollar amount, prestige, status, whatever. If it's at the cost of your peace of mind, it is not worth it. So take it easy. Take the time to waste a moment. You know, it's like the Eagles said, we got it easy. We ought to take it easy. You know, life is as hard as you're going to make it. It's things are neither good or bad. Thinking makes them so. No one's going to take life easy for you. It's up to you. And I think a lot about what consists of a waste of time because I want to make the most use of my time. So I think about it a lot. You know, is this a waste of time? And truly, it matters more who you are than where you are or what you're doing if it's a waste of time. How you perceive the situation, how you think, what you focus on. That's another thing David Foster Wallace talks about in his commencement speech to, I forget the college, but it's a speech called This is Water, and I highly recommend it. It's very good. But he talks about how we have the power to focus on what we put our attention towards. And this is paramount in life because, you know, Epictetus talks about how, you know, you have a jar and one handle can bear weight and the other handle can't. If you pick it up by this handle, it'll crumble. If you pick it up by this handle, it'll be fine. And that's how life is. You know, if somebody cuts you off in traffic, you know, you can say, you can get all mad, say he's a horrible driver, say he should get his license taken away, this, that, honk, give him the finger. Or you can say, huh, maybe his kid's in the passenger seat and he's sick and he's rushing him to the hospital. Unlikely, perhaps, but it is a reframe of mind and it is something within your power. And it may not be something of that extreme, but it could be something of that nature. They could be in much more of a hurry than you. And if you knew the whole story, your anger towards them would be unwarranted and you would feel bad. So truly, what you focus your attention on matters. So just take it easy. Take the time to waste a moment. Reframe situations. Understand that as long as you're in a good place, wherever you are doesn't matter. It doesn't matter as much as where you are, but who you are when you are there. That is what matters. Not where you are, but who you are. Take it easy.